Once upon a time, I was a child. Once upon a time, you were a child. You were a child, and once upon a time, we were all children. And we grew up on fairy tales. We dreamed of being astronauts, poets, athletes, and even princesses. And we imagined how bright and shiny our lives were going to be. And then, like most of us, in my case, reality happened. Now, I don't know which chapter of your life you find yourselves in right now. I don't know if you're living your dreams, and I don't know if, on the other hand, you're living your lives in quiet desperation. But regardless of where you find yourselves right now, just remember, your future is yours to shape. It's in your hands. It doesn't depend on chance. It doesn't depend on other people. And it certainly doesn't depend on fairy tales. There is no knight in shining armor coming to rescue you. Life doesn't give us a magic wand. Now, the magic, it's inside us. It's in the choices that we make. It's in the difficult decisions that we make every single day. Now, before I continue, I think I'd better address the elephant in the room. My glove. This isn't a magic glove. I wish it were, but it's not. Actually, it's an incredibly stylish medical device. I have to wear it because if I don't wear it, my arm swells up like a balloon. Now, I didn't choose this. And generally, in life, we can't always choose what happens to us. But there's one thing that, regardless of anything else, we can always choose. And that is the mindset that we face everything with. Now, I don't know your stories, but I do know my own story. I drew this when I was about 14 years old. This is how I saw the world then. And this is how the world made me feel. Now, if I had been asked in my mid-30s to draw a picture of how I felt, it would have been even worse than this. Today, I'm 55, and this is how I live my life, even in the darkest moments. And the question is, how did I get from where I was before to where I am now? Because this is the interesting part. My path to transformation, it was very, very, very long, and it was very, very, very difficult. But tonight, I'm going to make it short and relevant. I discovered at the worst time in my life that I had a gift for running. And first of all, I started running marathons. But then, as the time went by, something inside me was saying, Alex, you've got to run further. You've got to run much, much further. And you have to run alone. And it was that inner voice, when I started to actually listen to it and act on it, that led me to eventually begin an 8-year career of solo endurance challenges. And so during those 8 years, I didn't just run 1, 2, or 3 challenges. I ran 13 in total. And this transformed my life completely. Not because it was about running, but because I was doing something that I was passionate about and something that I felt inside me that I needed to do. Now, among those, and in the introduction this was explained a little bit, among those, one of the challenges I ran was 2,010 kilometers in 31 days. And this was in the middle of the Spanish summer in heat wave. So I was running 70 kilometers every day and 30 on Sundays as rest day for 1 whole month. And it was a month from hell, it really was. I ran 400 kilometers solo, non-stop, from a Wednesday to a Saturday in about 76 hours. And I even ran a race against a horse. It was 123 kilometers in the Spanish mountains, and against all odds, I won. Now, I had incredible finish lines, Olympic stadiums, football stadiums. There was recognition, there were high points, there was press. But it wasn't those high points and those triumphs that transformed my life and made me who I am today. It was everything that happened in between one high point and another. It was the silent struggles. It was the times that I fell and picked myself up. The days that I doubted myself, the days that everybody else doubted me. It was all of those things that kept me going. And the fact that I kept going consistently, this is what gave me the mindset that I have today. And these are the things that transform us, not the successes. Now, when we learn to embrace change, we can really start transforming our lives, and we can start rewriting the tomorrow that we want to have. But then you might say, why change? Why make the effort? It's tiring. One reason why we should be embracing change is because change is inevitable. Nature is change. This is how we evolve as people. Now, I'm not dismissing people's struggles. I'm not dismissing the challenges and the tragedies that people share all over the world. What I am saying, however, is that when we embrace those challenges and when we strive within ourselves to develop, it can help us overcome life's most difficult challenges. Now, I decided to stop my running challenges in 2014. I had developed myself, I had developed my resilience, my mindset, my business, and it was time to live my life without pain, without worry. And that's what I thought, until 2017 came along. Very, very quickly, my father got sick, and he died in October. At exactly the same time, my relationship collapsed. And 2 weeks later, I went in for a routine operation, and I woke up being diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, I was a professional motivational speaker on resilience, and I had the universe that was saying to me, Alex, we need proof of concept. And I was saying, no, universe, I don't want to, I don't need to, I've proved it. And then I said, no, I've got to listen to the universe. I allowed myself a few days, to cry, to feel afraid, to let my emotions out. And then I asked myself, Alex, what is it you teach your clients? What is it you speak about on stage? You talk about embracing challenges. You talk about the endurance mindset, about realistic positive attitude. This is what you have to do now. And so I did. I went into chemotherapy and radiation with a grounded mindset, with a realistic positive attitude. I lent on the people that were around me. I continued working because that energized me as much as I could. And at some point early on in my chemotherapy, I started running again. Slowly at first, but as I ran, I got stronger and stronger. And by October that year, I ran a 10K race and I won it. Now, I'm not saying that so that you say, wow, she's the best athlete. I never was the best athlete, and I never will be. What separated me and made me different was the way I focused on life and how I embraced challenges. And I did it before I needed to. And this is the thing. We shouldn't wait to change. We shouldn't develop and wait for change to come and hit us in the face and then to say, I need to change. We need to change before change finds us. And this is one of the things I want you to take away with you today. Don't wait. We can change now. We can make those decisions now. Okay, the question is, how do we do this? So for me, the foundation of everything is the endurance mindset. This is a mental approach to work and life. It's not running yourself into the ground. It's not exhausting yourself. It's not toxic positivity. And it's not pretending life is easy, because it's not. It's purpose with perspective. We have to find our why. We don't need big goals, but we do need meaningful goals for us. And this gives us the perspective to move forward. We need emotional regulation. We don't need to bottle our emotions up inside us. We need to understand them, to understand how they work, and then to realize when we need to stop to breathe, when we need to speak, and when we need not to speak. And we certainly need mental flexibility and agility. Life happens, plans break. We need to be able to adapt, to pivot, to leap, and all that without losing perspective on our goals and objectives. And this is how we move forwards. We need celebrated consistency. Success doesn't happen in one big leap. It happens step by step. Now, if we celebrate each of those steps along the way, each small win, we can accelerate where we're going, and we can accelerate our evolution. We also need strategic recovery. Rest isn't weakness. It's vital for sustainability and for success. We need to find our realistic balance and to apply it in our lives and work so that we don't waste our precious energy. Because remember, recovery isn't a pause from progress. It's a strategy for sustaining it. And finally, we need self-trust. When we trust ourselves, we don't need permission. And if I don't believe in myself, how can I expect anybody else to believe in me? Now, that's all the foundation. But then the question is, how do we put this into action? First and foremost, and if there's only one thing you take away today, take this. We need to develop realistic positive attitude. It's not about being happy every day and happy all the time. It's a conscious decision about how we're going to face the things that happen to us in our lives. Now, you might say, Alex, isn't this overly simplistic? And yes, it is. I haven't invented the wheel here. This isn't rocket science. But it's the simple things that make the big difference. Because life is so complex, we need reminders every day about those simple things that can help us move forward. Personal excellence, for me, is another of the most vital things we can apply in our lives. Personal excellence, simply put, is making our best effort in every single thing that we do every single day. It means knowing when we have to push, knowing when we go the extra mile, knowing when we need to rest. And it's a commitment to ourselves and others. And we need this. We need this for the motivation and the courageous action that we're going to need when things get tough in our lives, because things will get tough in our lives. There are going to be times that it'll look like we're not going to achieve our goals. And unfortunately, there are going to come times that it looks like there isn't a light at the end of the tunnel. And only then, with that motivation and commitment, will we have the strength to keep on going. And we need to make those difficult decisions in life. It's hard, but we need to be able, with clarity, to look at our life, to see what it is that we need to change and what it is that we can change in our life. And then we need to be proactive about it. Because if we don't do that, we can't write the tomorrow that we want. And we can't evolve. It holds us back. But we don't do all of this alone. We need the right people. We don't need the best people, but we need to surround ourselves with those people who elevate us, those people also who challenge us, and those people who walk beside us. Because our path is a lonely path, whoever we are. Every step is yours alone, but when we come together with the right people, our resilience becomes stronger. Every triumph is shared, and every triumph together needs to be recognized as a team. Now, before we come to the end here, I want you to stop and think. If there's even a tiny voice inside your head that's asking, Is it too late for me? Am I too young? Am I too old? Am I too tired? Have I made too many mistakes in my life to be able to do these things? The answer is a big resounding no. Life is too wonderful to not live it in the best way possible. So stop. Shh. Close your eyes and listen. Not to your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities, but listen to your inner voice. Listen to what it's telling you, because it knows. Don't lead your life with your song unsung. So today, tonight, lift your head high, stand tall. The future is yours to choose. Today, commit to yourself, commit to your future, and begin here right now. Begin rewriting your tomorrow, one challenge at a time. Thank you.